Hello and welcome to our Brenau University webinar, 5 Must-Knows About Your MBA. Thanks for joining us. My name is Katie and I am going to be moderating our webinar today. To begin with, let's cover the agenda and I'll tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about this afternoon. So now we know that going back to school is a big decision in normal times, but especially now. So what we've done is spoken to our students, our faculty members, and your hosts today to distill this comprehensive list of things that you should know about starting your MBA at Brenau before our August start date rolls around. So during our time together today, we will cover quite a bit. The first thing we'll talk about is the value of your MBA. Now, we at Brenau specialize in adult education, so we know that many of you are probably looking for something to help you with your career, and we'll cover exactly how an MBA can help you with that. Secondly, we will talk about the experts and the practitioners that you'll be learning from here at Brenau, and why learning from expert faculty members will help you not only with your education, but your career as well. After that, we will discuss what makes earning a Brenau MBA unique. And then, of course, we'll discuss how the MBA works. Now, some of you may be new to online education, some of you may be old pros, but we'll talk through the specifics of the online program and what you can expect to experience here at Brenau. Last but not least, we will cover a very popular topic here at Brenau, our Fast Track MBA option, so we can help you understand how you can finish your program really quickly. After that, we will have a Q&A portion. With that in mind, I'd like to call attention to the Q&A button that you see at the bottom of your screen. At any time during the webinar, if you have a question, just go ahead and type it into that button, and we will make sure that our hosts will try their best to address that at the end of our webinar. Speaking of hosts, let me introduce you to them. First, we are joined by Greg Bonessi, who is the enrolling manager here at Brenau University. So from the moment that you inquire about Brenau to the moment that you finish your application, Greg is your guide. He manages a team of enrollment coaches, and I'm sure many of you have probably already worked with an enrollment coach who has helped you apply to Brenau, so you might be familiar with the process. But if you're still in the application process and you have questions, Greg and his team can help you out. Then once you begin classes at Brenau, you will start working with Lindsay Traub, who has also joined us today. Now, Lindsay is our MBA success coach, so she works directly with all of our MBA students to ensure that they have all of the support and the direction that they need while they are working on their program. Greg and Lindsay, thanks for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Greg so he can kick things off and talk a little bit about the value of a Brenau MBA.
Thank you, Katie. Appreciate that, and welcome everybody. As you can see on your screen, we've provided you with some statistics that are provided by the Graduate Management Admission Council. Now, this is a survey done of MBA students nationwide, and it's going to give you some perspective on what the value of the MBA degree is to those students. So this is put together by people just like yourself, except they are those who have graduated. And they're very, very important to remember as you're making your decision to move forward. 86% of MBA graduates said that their degree prepared them for leadership roles, so to take on more, to grow and develop in their career. 85% of the MBA graduates said their degree better prepared them for their chosen careers, and 82% of MBA graduates said their degree increased their earnings where they're working. So depending on what you're looking for, maybe it's leadership roles, maybe it's to advance in your career or change your career, or it's to make more money, the MBA program is able to provide you with that. And that's how our curriculum is developed, with these goals in mind, to help you advance as a business professional or a professional in your chosen setting. Now, like I said, these were put together by the Graduate Management Admission Council. However, Lindsay is going to show you a different perspective, one that I think you'll like to hear, because that's the perspective of a current student here at Brenau. So Lindsay, take it away.
Yes, thank you, Greg, and welcome everyone. So just kind of going off of what Greg was saying as far as the MBA program, preparing students for leadership positions, this is a direct quote taken from one of my current students, Cheyenne. She'll be graduating with her MBA degree in December, and she says that choosing to get my MBA has benefited me in preparing me to take on more demanding roles, and it has heightened my confidence in pursuing more long-term strategic positions. I work very closely with my students, and it is so exciting when you consistently hear them saying that the material they are covering in the classes is very applicable to their day-to-day work life, and it gives them confidence to pursue their ultimate goals. So a huge benefit to the MBA program is your faculty members. We have experts in the field. They are giving you real life experience. Just to name a few, we have Dr. Erickson, who is our Dean of the College of Business and Communication. She's also a published author of numerous academic articles as well as her own textbook. And we also have Dr. Miller, who is the director of our healthcare management program. He is also a medical doctor and Lumpkin County Commissioner advocating for better healthcare law and policies. And then we have Dr. Arun, who is the director of our finance programs. He's also a current financial advisor for several startup companies, which is listed there. But as you can see, these are just a few examples of the many professionals you'll encounter at Brenau who are providing you with real-world experience. And then at that, I will go ahead and hand it back over to Greg.
All right, perfect. Thank you. What you're seeing on your screen now is detailed why Brenau for your MBA. And one of the big reasons that you just saw, of course, is our esteemed faculty members and all the experience that they bring to you as a student. So a wonderful group of people there to work with and to learn from. Thanks to our faculty and our curriculum, our MBA program has been ranked in the top 3 programs in Atlanta by the Atlanta Business Chronicle. So now we've looked at the MBA perspective from the national perspective, we've looked at it from a student's perspective, and we're also taking a look at it from the local perspective. So our program is built with your career goals in mind and has been very successful in that, including this recent ranking. And if we jump to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about how the program works. So overall viewpoint of the program. The program is 100% online. Now we take the 14-week semester and we break it up into 2 7-week sessions. So your classes will actually be 7 weeks long, not 14 to 16 weeks long. And you will take them, typically in succession. This allows you to graduate in 24 months if you're only taking one class at a time. So if you're busy at work and you want to be a part-time student, you can take one class at a time and graduate with your MBA in 2 years. We do have another option, which I'll get into here in a little bit. But first, I want to have Lindsay tell you a little bit more about the perspective from one of our students.
Yes, thank you, Greg. So this is Cheyenne, again, one of our current students, and she said that having the flexibility to work at my own pace was what I needed. I enjoyed being able to pace my own learning experience and logging into the classroom from anywhere at any time. Even though I'm not physically at the campus, my advisors and coaches are there with me every step of the way, encouraging me to excel. So something that's nice with the MBA program is there's no set time that you have to log in. It's really up to you and your schedule, as long as you're adhering to the due dates in the class. So students even can still take their vacations. I have them log in from wherever they're at and still be able to get homework and classwork done and not have to worry about that interfering with their schooling and program. And I'll give it back over to Greg.
All right, thank you. So as you can see, I alluded to this a moment ago, with the 2 years that it would take to take your program, taking one class per session. However, as an MBA student in the general MBA, which is not including one of the concentrations, you actually have the option of cutting your time to graduate in half by fast tracking your MBA, which allows you to graduate in 12 months. Now, the way you do this is by doubling up. You would take 2 classes per session. So instead of 1 class every 7 weeks, like you would have in the traditional setting, you can take 2 per every 7 weeks and graduate with your MBA in just 12 months. A great option if you're looking to fast track your career, if you want to advance, or if you need that credential for a specific position. There's a lot that you can do by graduating in just 12 months. So another good option there. Next up, Katie will go over some must-know, some bullet points on how to take the next step.
Yes, I will. Thanks, Greg and Lindsay, for your expertise. Before we move on to our Q&A session, there are a couple of reminders that we want to kind of share. Firstly, as a reminder, classes begin on August 24th, which is in, if you can believe it, just 3 weeks. It's kind of crazy to think that we're in August already, but the start date is coming up fast. So we encourage you to reach out to our enrollment team to make sure you're ready to roll in just a few short weeks. For help, you can call them at 888-337-2906. Or if email is more your style, you can email them at success@ags.brenau.edu. And I will go ahead and put that into the chat so that you can kind of jot it down that way. The next announcement we have is about the next upcoming webinar. So one of the most unique things about Brenau is that we do a lot to help our students move through their program. Even though you're studying online, you're not going to be doing it alone. There are a lot of support systems that we put in place to help you succeed. So tomorrow we'll be hosting yet another webinar. This one's called Your Online Dream Team, and it is at 12 p.m. Eastern Time again. You can sign up by visiting online.brenau.edu/webinar. And you can learn about things like the free academic support we offer, or free tutoring services, or how your coaches can help you succeed. So we'd really encourage you to sign up there. And again, I will put those into the chat in just a moment. But at this point, we're going to open the floor to any questions. So as a reminder, there is a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Should you have questions, certainly pop them in there, but it looks like we've already got some. So I am going to jump on this and direct this one to Lindsay. Lindsay, this person says that they've never taken classes online and they want to know what types of assignments they will be asked to complete.
Yes, absolutely. Great question. So it's basically going to be typical research paper assignments. There is discussion boards where you participate in the discussion and participation. There's also quizzes and exams, and those typically are like essay format or multiple choice. So that's typically what we see.
Great, thank you, Lindsay. That's really helpful. And a related question, you mentioned that there is no set time to log in every week, but are there due dates for assignments, or do you just kind of pace yourself as you go?
Yeah, like you said, there's no set time you have to log in. That's completely up to you and your schedule. There are going to be due dates, though, that you'll adhere to. So as long as you're adhering to those due dates, then you'll be good on that end.
Okay, perfect, Lindsay. Thank you for answering that question. Now, Greg, here's a question that I'm going to ask you. So is financial aid available to Brenau MBA students? And also, do you offer scholarship?
Financial aid definitely available for our students, and we do students do have the options to apply for scholarships as well as working with our Office of Financial Aid. I want to talk a little bit about the actual financial aid itself because it is different for a graduate level student. So as an undergraduate student, you have different levels of funding based on the year that you were in school, as well as an aggregate loan limit. And when you become a graduate student, that completely changes. So as a graduate student, you can have up to $20,500 in unsubsidized loans per year. That's the current rate for this year. It does typically change on a yearly basis, and your aggregate loan limit is $138,500 for a graduate student. So it's completely different than the funding that you may be familiar with as an undergraduate student. However, this is all available by filling out your FAFSA and working with our Office of Financial Aid. That process is the same. It's just the amounts that differ.
Great, thank you, Greg. And what about scholarships? Does Brenau offer those?
Brenau does have scholarships that are available to students, and scholarships are also available through outside organizations. And we encourage all of our students to work in research in order to work on getting those scholarships, filling out the applications, providing any necessary documentation. It does fall a lot on the student to work on their scholarships. However, there is money out there that's available for students, and everybody's situation is a little bit different and qualify them for different levels and different types of scholarships.
Perfect, thank you. Greg, one more question for you. Does Brenau require a GMAT to be admitted to the MBA program?
So the GMAT, which is a graduate management admissions test, is somewhat common nationwide, and students have had to complete that in order to enter a program. However, the Brenau program does not require the GMAT for admissions for the MBA.
Perfect. And are there any other kind of unique admissions requirements that prospective students should be aware of?
I'm actually going to pull them up just to make sure that I don't miss anything for you there, as we do have different requirements for different programs. I'm just going to take a quick review of those requirements so that you have them. Obviously, you would complete an application which is free and quick and easy to do. You should hold an undergraduate degree from a regionally accredited institution. And if you're not sure if your institution is regionally accredited, we can help you find that information. We do bring in all college transcripts, even if you took one class at a university. However, we take care of ordering those and getting those on file, and even paying any fees associated with those orders for you. Typically, we look for a cumulative GPA of a 3.0 or better. Now, if your GPA is lower than a 3.0, we can still work with you. There's a process to complete a letter that goes along with your application that we can walk you through. And with the MBA program, one of the items that's unique is we do require a current resume that typically has at least 2 years of work experience. As a business professional, we want you to have some experience to rely on and also to refer to in your classroom setting, so we can build on that and get you prepared for those larger roles. So that's something that you won't necessarily see with all of our programs, but we do require a resume for the MBA program. And that's everything. That's all of the admissions requirements for the MBA.
Awesome, thanks, Greg. It sounds like, you know, the admissions requirements are pretty straightforward. So that's one of the great things about getting your MBA at Brenau, especially since that start date is coming up real quick. So Lindsay, this question is for you. This person says that they see on our website that there are a lot of MBA concentrations available. So can you tell us a little more about those concentrations? And also, if somebody does choose to add a concentration to their MBA, how much time does that add to it?
Absolutely, yes. What's nice is you do, if you would like, you can add on a concentration, which is like a certificate component that's a little more specialized. Like you mentioned, Katie, there are several to choose from. It's very easy if you did want to add on a concentration. Typically, it's either 4 to 5 classes. So you're just adding on maybe 2.5 semesters worth of classes. So you can still finish an MBA program with a concentration attached in a reasonable amount of time. General MBA typically is 2 years to complete. That's taking just the one class at a time for each 7 weeks. So with a concentration, you're looking at about like 2.5 years.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Lindsay. I think we have time for one more question, and just as a reminder, you can stick any more questions in that Q&A feature right there if you have them. But one last question that's come in, and Lindsay, I'll send this one to you as well. You've spoken quite a bit about the Fast Track MBA. Do most people who pursue the Fast Track MBA, do they have full-time jobs, or are they generally people who work or who are taking kind of a year off of work?
Actually, most of the students who are doing Fast Track are working full-time jobs, and they have kids at home. So they have busy lives, but they're still able to pursue doubling up with the classes, taking 2 every 7-week session. So it's definitely doable, which is great.
Awesome, thank you. Well, Greg and Lindsay, it looks like those are the questions that we have received. So again, I appreciate your time and your effort into answering these questions and going through the MBA. Again, one final reminder, if we can move to the next slide, please, that classes do start again on August 24th. So we would encourage you to hurry up and finish your application so that you can get going on your program. Again, the phone number and email to contact Lindsay and Greg's teams are in the chat of the webinar, but again, that's 888-337-2906, or you can shoot an email over to them at success@ags.brenau.edu. And of course, we would love to see you at tomorrow's webinar so you can learn a little bit more about the support systems that we offer. So you can register for that at online.brenau.edu/webinar, and you can find that URL in the chat as well. So thank you again to all who have joined, and we hope to see you in class August 24th. Have a nice day.